All right, we're live. Welcome to another episode of Five Rounds with John and Eddie. This is the March 7th edition. I don't know what number episode that is. I leave that to John because John is he's clearly on top of his shit way better than I am. So we'll let him tweet that shit out or something. I don't know. So let's get into the shit that you want to get out of the way as fast as possible. Nature Box. Everybody eats snacks, but most of the stuff you get out there is some old garbage. Step your snack game up, son. Hit the Nature Box. Nature Box are snacks that are much better for you than the Twinkies you're munching on right now as you're watching us. So come on, feel a little guilty. Get yourself some healthier shit from Nature Box. Go to CrossBonesMMA.com and click on the Nature Box banner. Get yourself some snacks. We're also brought to you by F3 Foods. If you're trying to lose weight, you get in shape, you want to get noticed by the ladies or the fellas, whatever team you're on, doesn't matter to me. I'm not judging. Nutrition is a huge part of that. So get yourself a plan, get yourself eating right, and get good. They got meal plans, they got choices, they got everything you can need. So get your shit together, eat right, and go to thegetfitprogram.com, thegetfitprogram.com, and use the code word CROSSBONES. That's CROSSBONES, all one word, at checkout for a discount. Also, Troxafen gets your testosterone up. You want to build lean muscle. First of all, you need to eat right and work out really hard. It's not bullshit here. But nutrition is a huge part of that. So while you're getting yourself on a plan, you're eating correctly, you can also get yourself some help in the testosterone section there on your body by giving it a boost with Troxafen. Look, man, and the other part too, because it can help you get lean muscle and all that, because testosterone helps you out. But also, if you have issues with getting it up, or you got a lady with a libido that's insane, get yourself some help. Hit up some Troxafen. Go to CrossBonesMMA.com and click on the banner on the store and affiliates page for that. And last but not least, Amazon.com. When you go to CrossBonesMMA.com, you look to the right, you're going to see a small box that's from Amazon. And it's the same as if you go to the website directly, but if you buy through that box, it costs you nothing more than usual. It's the same usual prices with everything, but Amazon kicks us back a little bit on their end, which helps keep the site and the shows going on SoundCloud and on the website and all that. So help us out, shop on there. All these sponsors and even more can be found on the site at CrossBonesMMA.com on the store and affiliates page. So now, finally, since we're done with that garbage, let's get after it. Let's get after it here on Five Rounds with John and Eddie. Today, it's myself, Eddie Law, and Manos, so let's go. So John is out on a family weekend, man, and Nick Pilecki is more than likely hustling phones right now on the street in Houston. So so today we're joined by Don Manos. Don, how you doing, man?
It's great over here in Oklahoma as usual. I'm just glad to go ahead and get to talking about exactly what we need to talk about today.
Sounds good, dude. So let's kick it off with some exciting news from Metamoris. Metamoris 6. If you don't know what Metamoris is yet, first of all, get the hell out under that rock. But it's the premier jiu-jitsu submission tournament, or not tournament, it's an event. But that goes down in California on May 9th this year. And now so far there's only one bout. It's Chael Sonnen taking on Renato Babalu Sobral. And it's not the main event, but it's guaranteed to be one of the more exciting matches on the card. These two have previously fought in the cage at UFC 55. I think it was named Fury, if I remember correctly. I know it was in 05, and it was a fight that Babalu took via submission and a triangle choke in the second round. So Chael Sonnen, being the wrestler that he is, he took that last fight against Andre Galbao, and he did have, he lost. But he actually held his own pretty good. I think against Renato, against Babalu, he can hold his own. What did you think when you heard about this matchup?
I liked it. I like the idea of Babalu coming back. I mean, he's retired from the cage. Chael semi-retired from the cage. We don't know much yet. But in a grappling tournament, if he can do even half of what he did against Galvao, I think he might be able to take out Babalu, because Babalu's kind of getting up there in age. Didn't really look impressive in his last few fights. Chael's always looked impressive, and I'm just a big Chael fan as it is.
Yeah, and the thing is, and look, my first question, of course, was, is Chael had to be on the on the TRT and whatnot. Last time he actually competed at Metamoris, I think it was I can't remember his name, Hennick Gracie, I think his name is. I can't remember completely right now, but basically Metamoris said that they weren't worried about that because it wasn't going to help him against a high level jiu-jitsu specialist like Galvao. And I think you're right against Renato Babalu. Just like you're saying, he's getting up there in age. Last time we saw him compete at Metamoris, he held up. I think it was a draw, and it ended up being a draw for him. But I think Chael's, he's been training jiu-jitsu. The dude's been, putting in that work. So I'm wondering if we're going to see him, maybe surprise some people by submitting a Brazilian in jiu-jitsu at Metamoris. How many of the Metamoris events have you seen?
I think I started at 3. I did get to see the Dean Lister one where Babalu and Lister went to the decision. I think that's when I started, because it was Can't think of his name. Eddie Bravo was in there.
Dude, that Eddie Bravo Hoyler Gracie match, that was insane.
That's what made me a fan of it. So if Chael Sonnen comes out there and let's just say since Metamoris 4, he's just been nonstop training, he might be able to do something. Babalu probably walks around, I'd say 230, 240, and Chael's about the same. And if he's on TRT, he's going to be stronger, faster. It's going to be crazy.
Dude, it's gonna be great, and again, the Eddie Bravo Hoyler Gracie freaking match was the one that I've been watching Metamoris since I heard about it, which I think was the second one. But every year they're coming up with some new stuff. They have the secret matches now. Yeah, with the one that blew him out was when Jeff Glover stood up from the freaking commentator's box.
That was great.
Kempflo had no idea what was going on. The crowd was just like started freaking out. It was awesome, just a fun way to watch him do his what do you call it? He called it donkey guard, where it's like he
turns his back to you.
Yeah, and I was like, why? And I kept saying, because I was watching it with my friends, I'm like, why is he giving up his ass? What the fuck's he doing? And so yeah, when he turns around and then he does that thing where he kind of like spins under trying to get take somebody down or whatever. It was I don't know. I want to see that guy compete again. I don't want him to be the secret match, but I want to be in there in another no-gi match. That'd be freaking sick.
I want to see Kempflo be in the secret match. Him having to get out of the suit and get up there.
Dude, that'd be legit, Kempflo. I also, guys that are like the dream matches, maybe not the matches, but the guys that I want to see compete in Metamoris, to me would be Nick Diaz. I think you were saying BJ Penn, right?
BJ Penn would be great. Because BJ Penn, isn't he a red stripe?
You're probably right. No, I think you're right. I think he might be a red stripe. But he got his belt his black belt in 3 years, or he has some crazy record-breaking number.
Prodigy.
The Prodigy, sir. Another one. Joe Rogan, dude. Joe Rogan. Who would you put Joe Rogan against?
I'll put Joe Rogan against Eddie Bravo just because it'd be hilarious. Just the respect factor of it alone would be amazing.
I think they would be laughing. Like they both would be laughing while they're rolling. Like it'd be hilarious to them. So.
And the electric chair comes out of nowhere, like you were saying.
Yeah. Dude, I can't believe Hoyler Gracie freaking didn't tap. And that's just all pride right there, man. That's Gracie pride, not tapping anything. Freaking crazy.
But also somebody who hasn't been in there, that'd be great.
Ronda Rousey. I like Ronda Rousey.
I could just see her. I could see her putting her up against like Ian McCall just to like her. And let's get that out the way. And then she just slams him and takes his arm.
Somebody hit up the Gracies. If you're watching this show, hit up the Gracies right now and try to set up Ian McCall against Ronda Rousey at Metamoris 6. Just geese. No geese. It doesn't really matter because I would just love to see that. And look, it's not really a fight. It's a jiu-jitsu. Look, I roll with girls all the time. All right, I get tapped by girls all the time. I'm not very, my jiu-jitsu game's decent, but against a girl that's like clearly way better than me, I get destroyed, and I have zero problem with it. Ian McCall would definitely have a big problem with it, but he'd have to shut up at that point because I think Ronda Rousey, destroys him. But and so does Brendan Shaw.
Get up in her face, got it.
There you go, do it. Anyway, all right, moving on here to some actual MMA. Some weird mix-ups going on in World Series of Fighting. Vinny Malgahez was supposed to actually take on Matt Hamill in the main event of World Series of Fighting 20. But a rumored, and I'm saying rumored because it hasn't. Some people have said it, talked about it. Vinny actually went on Twitter and disputed this whole thing, but. There's a rumored prior agreement with Titan FC that has made World Series of Fighting pull Vinny from his main card bout or his main event bout against Matt. So, leaving Matt Hamill without an opponent, apparently not acceptable to World Series of Fighting because they moved him back to World Series of Fighting 19. He is now in the co-main event against Thiago Silva. The funny thing about it is that they fought before in the UFC, and actually the last UFC fight that either one of them had, with Thiago Silva winning a decision fight. So. Not a bad rematch to get, especially for World Series of Fighting, and it's going to be in my town here in Phoenix, I believe. So definitely excited for that. This is a weird thing with everything that like Matt Hamill's coming out of retirement. He retired through a Facebook post, if I remember correctly. Thiago Silva, we know all about his problems, all about the putting the gun in his wife's mouth and all that, and threatening a bunch of people, and then the standoff in the apartment against with the cops. So they made this fight against Matt Hamill, and Matt Hamill coming out of retirement. And I'm not. Look, I'm not. I think I'm more excited about the fact that you get to see two former UFC guys that can. Thiago Silva can still fight. Matt Hamill showed a little bit here and there with that decision loss against Thiago, but I'm excited to see it. Are you?
I'm totally excited. I just got done watching some of Thiago's old fights. Of course, it ended up me watching the fight against Lyoto Machida. But Matt Hamill, I think he might, even though he's coming out of retirement, I think he might have this because he's beat Tito. He's knocked down Mark Munoz, and it was scary when he did that. And he also, I think he got Tim Bosch as well. But good God, if he can do that to Thiago Silva, Thiago's been knocked out before. He's been asleep. I don't know who's going to win, but I want Hamill to win just because it'd be great to be a storyline with those two again.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Hamill's a good dude. He's one of those guys that doesn't get in trouble. He always leaves his heart out there in the cage. So it's the kind of guy you can root for. Thiago Silva is the kind of guy who he's a roughneck. Like, you know, he's got the neck tattoos and all that stuff. Which again, I got tattoos. I don't really care. But you know, it's the he gives you that impression. Not to mention all the stuff that he's allegedly did. And you can only say allegedly because everything got dropped, I believe. So. Again, World Series of Fighting 19. That's your co-main event. Thiago Silva against Matt Hamill. We're definitely going to cover it, so it's going to be a fight to look forward to. All right. Here's a fun one, and we're switching gears here to UFC now. The headliner, I believe, for UFC 187. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but it could be. The headliner is going to be Chris Weidman finally defending his belt against Vitor Belfort, right?
I believe they are the co-main. I think that's the John Jones.
That's right. You're right. Co-main. My bad. And I was thinking about that because I was thinking it's either John Jones and Johnson or Weidman Vitor. So they're the co-main. Got it. Okay. So Belfort's coming out and he's actually complaining that he's been drug tested several times and that Chris Weidman's only been tested once. Is it fair or does it make sense for Vitor to actually complain about something like this, knowing his history with drug tests?
Who's failed a drug test out of those two? I think it was Vitor's failed a couple. So in the rule books, it kind of states that if you fail a drug test, you will be subject to more and more testing randomly, blood and urine. He has no room to complain. He's failed in the past, TRT, possibility of steroids, allegedly steroids. Nobody can really know. But Chris Weidman's been clean his whole career. I've never heard of him even, having anything wrong at all with him. Vitor's had problems in the past. He has no room to complain. If he thinks he can win, stop complaining, get to training, and be there at 187.
Yeah, and I had the same reaction as you. I'm like, come on, man. You've tested positive a couple times, in fact. So, and he's the guy that's been fighting since he was 19 years old in the UFC. So, it always makes you wonder. I've always wondered this. All the guys that are clean, that don't test, they don't piss off or anything, seem to be the ones that get injured the most, right? Cain Velasquez, Anthony Pettis, Chris Weidman, and some of the people that rarely get injured are the ones that get caught. And I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying some of them. So I wonder if that's, if Vitor, being on that juice has helped him not be injured as much as other fighters, especially during his, his best years in the UFC. But what did you think? Just switching a little bit of a gear here to Anderson Silva, because I know he's coming out. He's coming out soon. He's going to be telling the Nevada State Athletic Commission that he's going to admit, drug use or PED use for that injury. What did you think when you heard that?
I'm a big Anderson Silva fan. I'm still a fan to this day, but I lose respect a little bit for the steroid fact, even if it is just for making your body better than what it really was, because he came back so fast. He snapped his leg. There was no way you were going to come back in just a little over a year like he did. I don't like it that he got caught or anything like that. I don't like that he used steroids, but hey, he needs to fess up because if not, he was going to get in more trouble. Worst thing that's going to happen is he's going to suspend it probably about a year or something.
Probably. And the thing that bothers the hell out of me is that Nick Diaz is about to, he's about to get totally destroyed for weed. And it is a third offense. It sucks, but,
How is that a performance-enhancing drug?
It's definitely not, dude, unless you're doing jiu-jitsu, all right?
Then it numbs you a little bit.
Yeah, look, man, I can allegedly attest to the fact that rolling high is allegedly an incredible amount of fun, and helps you think. It helps you think. It slows everything down allegedly, and I'm only saying allegedly because fuck the police. So, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I love the police sometimes.
They're gonna suspend you for a year from the podcast.
Yeah, right. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be a big fucking headline. Certain.
I gotta write a story about that.
Yeah, right. Anyway. Before we move on here, Andrew Reed is one of our listeners here. He actually tweeted in saying that he wants to see. Well, he says Glover at Metamoris was class, and definitely I completely agree. That was definitely a fun match to see. But he suggests Rogan versus Dana White look, man, I would love to see it just because it'd be funny, it'd be hilarious. Because Rogan would totally fuck with Dana White. He would mess with him so badly.
What kind of rash guard would Dana White wear?
A big Reebok one with a big Reebok fucking
just a
symbol
Reebok
on his ass.
logo right in the chest.
Exactly.
And Ronda Rousey's face on it.
You know what? It was funny, is that, dude, they're so close, and if people want to say that there's some weird shit going on there, I don't think so. But people like on the underground. I don't know if you've ever been on the underground there, but yeah, they always say some weird shit about that, and I'm like, you guys are just being gross at this point, cause no, okay, Ronda Rousey can get herself a stallion, not some fucking middle-aged bald dude that everybody hates apparently. So anyway, right.
She can get whatever she wants, but what she chooses right now, she's probably sitting at home right now playing World of Warcraft.
See, that's the kind of girl like a lot of guys look for. The kind of chick that just kick back, play video games, whatever, and then get in a cage and destroy somebody's arm. Just, it's all good.
She told me, listen, I want you to cook for me. I'd say, how do you want your eggs? Let me get that for you right now, honey. Like, I don't care. I'd be whipped. That's Ronda Rousey.
Hell yeah, for sure. Anyway, moving on here. A story that was actually broke. It was breaking news, but it was broken by Front Row Brian on Twitter, one of the premier story breakers that people like to steal from. And we're not going to do that. So credit to Front Row Brian. He actually broke a story of Burt Watson quitting the UFC during the UFC 184 event. First of all, when you heard that he quit, what'd you think?
I got sad, man. That's the dude that every single pay-per-view I look forward to. It's when you watch the weigh-ins. Burt Watson, Babysitters to the Stars. We're rolling. It's the beginning of one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to. It's him talking. And just to think that there's going to be it's not maybe the whole time of the UFC's future, but in the future of the UFC, we're not going to see that anymore. It's kind of saddening. It's like losing a brother.
Yeah, you know what? And that's exactly the feeling I had. It was just sad because you don't want to see a guy that put in 14 years of work just suddenly just suddenly gone. It wasn't that he gave a warning, he didn't tell nobody, he didn't tell on a radio show, he didn't drop any hints. It was just boom, gone. And so he actually went into MMA Junkie Radio and he was telling those guys, and I apologize for not remembering those guys' names. It's a good show. Their jokes don't really work that well, but whatever. they do a lot of good work actually. So I'm gonna actually start tuning into them a lot more often. But he actually went on their show and said that he pretty much confirmed that there was an argument at UFC 184. He didn't confirm who it was with. He said that he's never had any issues with. Whoa, hold up. My freaking computer is freaking out. Give me 1 second. Is that you?
I'm not doing anything.
Oh. Okay. In that case, this is just me. This is weirding me out. There it is. Get the hell off my computer. Get out of here. There it is. All right. So apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. That's what happens when you do live shows. I click on some dumb shit and my headphones just blow up with a Viagra commercial. My bad. Anyway. So I felt really sad. So he went on MMA Junkie Radio and basically confirmed that there was some kind of thing going on. That he said that he had no problem with Ronda Rousey or Mark Munoz, the rumored reasons why he left. But he did confirm that there was some argument that he felt a little bit disrespected during that argument, but that he left. And he did leave the door open for returning. He didn't say about the UFC, but he did say he left the door open to returning to boxing. As we all know, he's been Joe Frazier's business manager for a long time, and he's been a coordinator for a very long time, for 30 years, I think is what he said. So it'd be nice to see him come back, but you know what? Because you're not going to replace a Burt Watson in the UFC. But let's say Burt Watson goes to Bellator. Wouldn't that weird you out a little bit?
Man, I wouldn't be sad because I get to see Burt Watson again, but it'd be just kind of weird. It's like parents broke up and here's dad's new girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't be happy with Bellator at all.
Yeah, and I don't think he would do that either. I think we'll see. I think Burt Watson's going to go take a break, mess with a couple things, write a book, sell some shirts, whatever. And I think at some point in the future we'll see him back in the UFC. At least that's my hope. Because again, you're not replacing that dude. And the guys, the people that are going to miss him the most are the fighters for sure. So anyway, all right, moving on from that. This whole thing with Ronda Rousey, man, it seems like Ronda Rousey's so captivating to people that people will almost make things up just to write stories about her. And now, because there's been a lot of talk because Ronda Rousey lacks opponents in the UFC. I haven't said Cyborg. Cyborg is outside the UFC right now. But so much talk that in fact people have been talking about and speculating and seeing if they basically speculated that she could beat a lot of the men at 135 pounds. In fact, Cole Miller came out and said she could probably beat most of them. And then Rogan said she could beat some, and of course Ian McCall got all upset, saying that she couldn't beat any man at 135, saying it's unrealistic. So Ronda finally came out and said that she, while she believes she could beat anybody in the right circumstance, that it's unrealistic that a bout against a man would ever happen, by saying, quote, "It's not a reality. They're not gonna do anything like that. Fights are chaotic. Anything can happen, and there's no setting in which we should condone a man hitting a woman," end quote. And that's a very good point. We don't want to, say that there's ever a time where a man could hit a woman. But I thought the whole Ronda fighting a dude thing was ridiculous, and I thought that Ian McCall getting upset was dumb too. But what did you think?
I think it's stupid that people want to just throw this out there. It's like it annoys me to the fact that Ronda is a woman. They're saying that Ronda should never be condoned being hit by a man, but let's just say Dana White runs out of opponents. He can't get Cyborg to drop to 135. Are you trying to tell me you don't want to see Ronda Rousey in the same ring as like T.J. Dillashaw, Ian McCall, or even what would be a really good one for her? Can't think of his name. Mighty Mouse.
Oh shit, dude! No.
All those fights would be hilariously awesome to watch, but we all know it's not going to happen. But,
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think Ronda Rousey. And not all the bantamweights. I say probably bottom tier of those male bantamweights she could beat. I'd give her a really good shot against what's his name, Marcus Brimage. But, past that, nobody.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, again, she could beat some of maybe I would say she could beat the bottom 15, maybe bottom 10 of the 135ers. It's not going to happen. It shouldn't happen. But again, to the early idea of putting her in a Metamoris match against Ian McCall would be entertaining, and imagine the buys, because it costs, I think, I hate to say it because I don't remember exactly. I want to say it's like $20, maybe more. Yeah,
it's like $20.
Yeah, it's like $20 to buy a Metamoris. Imagine the buys for that. You know what I mean? And there'd be so much to talk about after that. And when Ian McCall, I say when because look, Ian, bro, if you ever see this, I respect you. I love watching you fight. That fight with John Lineker was great until you got knocked out. He got knocked out, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
it was a TKO. Anyway, it's been so many events. My brain gets scrambled. I can't remember anything. But anyway, regardless, I like to see Ian McCall fight and all that. But come on, son, Ronda's gonna judo toss your ass and armbar you to just pull your arm off, just rip it off, and that's it. But it'd be entertaining to watch for sure. So yeah, and switching gears a little bit here. How realistic do you think it is that Cyborg actually makes 135 pounds and then actually fights Ronda Rousey in the UFC?
I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but when you go on Twitter or Facebook and you brag the day after you made 145 and you just fought and your scale shows 175, that just throws into all of our heads that you really don't want that fight very well. Sure, if you make it to 135, cool, you're going to make the weight and you're going to fight Ronda Rousey next day. I don't think if she makes it, she's going to be healthy at all. I think she'll be too drained, too tired. It'll be kind of like when Woodley beat Gastelum. Gastelum just looked tired that whole fight. I mean, just like that.
Yeah, he looked just tired, gassed out, and depressed, and all that because he missed weight too. So, yeah, and I had the same feeling too. I was like, she's putting at 175. I don't think it's realistic. She makes 135. I think just like you said, It'll be that the diminishing returns is how much are you giving up to make that weight and move down to that weight class, and how much can your body recover on fight night, so you can actually perform. And the other thing too is a lot of people coming out saying, oh, Ronda doesn't want to see Cyborg, Ronda doesn't want to see Cyborg. I don't think Cyborg wants to see Ronda. If you ever watch any of Cyborg's fights, she's kind of clumsy. All right, and I've said this a few times before, and I always get hate on it. I really don't care. I'll take it. I'll take the hate any day, all day. But I think Cyborg comes out so clumsy, and we saw what Ronda did to Kat Zingano coming out the way she did. I think it's very possible that Ronda Rousey, just runs through Cyborg if Cyborg tries to come out clumsy the way she's been doing for a couple of years now.
I was listening to the MMA Roasted podcast, and Marina Shafir, Ronda's teammate, put the point out there that if, let's just say, Ronda says, okay, screw it, let's do 140 or 145, Ronda's not going to have to cut. Ronda walks around like at 150. So Ronda's just going to have a healthy training camp for, let's say, 8 weeks, and then just has to cut 5 pounds for the fight. Ronda's going to be stronger and faster than Cyborg, who has to cut 30 pounds within 2 weeks. Ronda would destroy Cyborg at 140, 130. Does not matter where they fight. I think Ronda takes her because Cyborg will get in close, get thrown, get submitted. It's over.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think Cyborg would have to get some kind of lucky punch or kick in the chin and basically put Ronda out. And I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Ronda's too. I mean, the way you see her, the way you see her train those countdown videos, she's so detailed. It's scary. Like there's nothing you can do that she doesn't already expect, or at least something that she hasn't trained for, right? And so it almost seems like she's the kind of girl that doesn't have game plans. And she even said before, I think there's a clip somewhere on there, on the internet somewhere. I have to find it, but it's her predicting the time on her fight instead of 14 seconds. I think she said 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah. So she was prepared for any situation. In fact, she even said that she was prepared for Kat Zingano to try and come out fast because of all the talk that Kat Zingano is a slow starter. So it's her preparation is scary, man.
And we're throwing all these ideas out there that what's her name, Cyborg will make it. What I think is actually more than likely going to happen is Betch Correa is going to end up getting like Jessica Ai, and the winner of that's going to get Ronda. And if Ronda gets Jessica Ai, I'm a huge Jessica Ai fan. It almost rivals my Ronda fan. I don't know how that fight's going to go because Jessica Ai knows how to like get in and get out. Dude,
Jessica Ai is a fun fighter. She's one of at 135. I would say she's top two, top 3 more exciting fighters. Her, you can put Ronda, Tate, and Correa in there, and I wouldn't be mad at either one. Ronda against Betch or Ronda against Jessica Ai. But I know Dana said during the post-fight press conference that if Ronda gets anybody but her, she's gonna beat the shit out of somebody. So, you know what? Give her Betch Correa. Let Ronda go do her movie or whatever. When they come back, announce the winner of that fight gets Ronda. And if it's Jessica Ai, we're gonna get a fun fight and against a contender that, just like you said, knows how to get in and get out, without getting thrown around too much. And the other way, we get a nice little grudge match where Betch Correa thinks she could take out the last of the one of the four horsewomen or whatever they're still calling themselves that. By the way. The hatred for that nickname is dumb. It is dumb. Okay, I didn't grow up watching wrestling, but I did watch it for a few years. I think I stopped as soon as The Rock quit. Which I was a kid. I was like 8 or 9, I don't remember. But as soon as he quit, I stopped watching it. But people take that shit so seriously. You can't call yourself a horsewoman or whatever. It's bad for the horsemen. I do recall the 4 horsemen being complete assholes. Okay, that's all I remember of the 4 horsemen. So shut the fuck up. I don't know. What do you think? Were you a wrestling fan? Did you grow up a wrestling fan?
I grew up a wrestling fan all my life. I mean, I still to this day, I'll watch it every now and then. But I remember being a kid, my dad telling me about Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Ric Flair, the 4 horsemen growing up. And then now you got, what is it? It's Ronda, Marina Shafir,
yeah,
and those 2 other girls that we know and remember.
Shayna Baszler,
yes,
and Jessamine Duke.
Yeah, and she's already taken out 2 of them. Yeah. She can't go up to 145 and take out Marina because Marina's not in the UFC. But if she ends up getting Ronda Rousey, it'd be great. From a wrestling fan standpoint, that nickname that they chose, great idea.
Yeah,
Ronda's already rowdy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, and it gets people to talk about it because I got everybody to talk about it. Every wrestling fan was talking about, oh, I can't believe they would use that nickname. First of all, I think they got permission. All right, I don't think
Yeah.
Arn Anderson had any problem whatsoever with it, and neither did the WWE because it gets them more, a little bit more publicity for their little WWE network and all that. But you know what? I did watch the last two WrestleManias with The Rock in it because I'm just that nostalgic about growing up and shit that I just like, oh, The Rock's coming back. I'm gonna watch that, and then I got to learn about a bunch of people. I got to learn about CM Punk. I thought from like maybe like like maybe I've seen him on WWE maybe like 3 or 4 times, and one of them was that stupid pipe bomb thing, which I fell over laughing because I couldn't tell if it was real or not. Okay, and I know
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sorry we're talking wrestling now, but just making it real quick because I'm gonna talk about his MMA career in a second. I mean, I couldn't tell if it was real or not. I fell over laughing like a motherfucker that he was actually saying this shit. I could just imagine his boss, Vince McMahon, in the back just tearing his hair out. And I thought when they muted the mic, whether or not it was planned, okay, that was just classic.
I think I was really deep into wrestling during that time frame that CM Punk came out, and then MMA came into my life, and I started watching you ever seen, what do they call it? I think it's called the Gracie Way. It's a thing that
Yep.
Henner and Hiron puts on their YouTube channel, and I saw CM Punk rolling down in Atlanta. I was like, man, that's really cool. And then when I heard out he was coming to UFC, I don't know. I really don't know. But if he can take someone down, he's working with Rufus Sport, who's known for their striking. You might see CM Punk win a couple.
Mhm.
Not saying he's going to take a title, because he's pretty up there in age, but I think he might make it to main card.
Yeah, friggin' I know, and again, this is where we get to the MMA part of it. He did have a kind of fight scrimmage, whatever the hell that means. It's more like a sparring session that's, I guess it's more realistic than a sparring session. They just let him go with maybe just a couple of rules, I guess. But I think it was Duke Rufus that came out to say that they had the scrimmage or whatever, and that CM Punk has a few things to work on. I don't remember exactly. I think he was signed at the end of last year. They've been talking about him fighting at the end of 2015. We're not there yet. We're not even halfway through the year yet, and he's already, they're already talking about he has a few things to work on. Do you think it's realistic that CM Punk will have an actual competitive MMA fight, when he actually comes out? Let's say it's, November, December.
I think it'll be competitive. I think it'd be nice. I mean, what I end up seeing happening is they're going to want to do it in Chicago or something, because this is his hometown. Get as many people as you can behind him. So they go to Chicago, let's say in December or something, around the same time probably the Blackhawks play or something. CM Punk goes out there. Maybe I say maybe he just goes to decision and takes the first victory, because they're going to give him like a 1-2 guy. They're not going to give him someone great.
Do you think you, I don't know, because I wonder, and again, you start talking about storylines and shit in MMA and all that. I wonder if you give him, or if you pay a retired fighter to come out of retirement to have one fight with CM Punk, and see if CM Punk can take on a guy that's a little older, whose body doesn't hold up as well, but has all that knowledge of MMA in him, and if he can test himself against that, because that's one of the things that people have been talking about. It's like you can give him that 1-1 guy or an 0-0 guy or an 0-1 guy, because look, CM Punk is gonna be on the pay-per-view. That guy's not fighting on the undercard, okay? They didn't bring him in for to fight on the undercard. They brought him in to bring in viewers, just like the way they did it with Brock Lesnar. Except they're doing it with Brock Lesnar. They did it with his size. They did it with his power. They did it with just the fact that he's just a monster of a man. With CM Punk, they're doing it because of his personality, and it's almost like a cult following, it seems, of CM Punk, and they're trying to bring in those viewers to see what they can do. So I don't know. I mean, there's been talk about putting him against a fighter of the same experience or an older veteran whose body doesn't hold up as well. I think either way, I'm gonna watch that fight, man.
I try to remember. I think it was MMA Roasted podcast a couple weeks ago. I listened to them so much.
Yeah.
It was Frank Trigg said he wants to fight CM Punk. Frank Trigg is like he's 42 years old.
Mhm.
He wants CM Punk just because he says it'd be a fun fight. He come out of retirement. Dana White gives him a call. He's using TRT right now. He gets off TRT. Give him 12 weeks to get ahead of it. I think that'd be fun. 42-year-old Frank Trigg, who has like 20 wins underneath his belt against CM Punk in the UFC, would be hilarious. It would be great. and I'm not sure if he would win.
I don't know. That's the fun part, I guess. But at the same time, it's just whoever gets in there with him is gonna get paid like a motherfucker. That's gonna be like it's almost gonna be like just like a one-time fuck it, let's just fight kind of deal. But the other guy, and before we end the episode here, the other guy that wants to fight him is a freaking Green Ranger, and I've only seen videos of him on YouTube fighting, but I was just like, I can't take him seriously. Like he did this whole thing we went on Twitter. He put a picture on Twitter of him with his hands up like this in front of a freaking UFC gym. Like he doesn't know that they don't actually train you there. Like that's just a workout place, dude. So it was weird as hell. But I don't know. Have you seen that guy fight?
Just on YouTube. But if Jason David Frank comes out, he better come out to the Go-Go Power Rangers. Dana White better do some great marketing on this, and I will tune in.
They have him like that, and then halfway through the fight, the freaking Red Ranger jumps the cage and fucking starts helping him out and shit. I don't know. It'd be so weird. Anyway, you have anything else you want to bring up?
Nah, man. We talked about everything that really happened this week. It's been kind of a boring week.
It has been, because there's no event this weekend, and I can't find one anywhere. There could be something small that we just haven't seen yet. But
we had RFA yesterday.
RFA, that's right. So I didn't actually catch that, but I saw the things on Twitter. I was actually out. My friend was headlining a comedy show here in Tempe, in Phoenix, and I got to check that out. So I didn't get to see that or even freaking find a stream. But all right, so that's gonna do it. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Elaw31, and in CrossBonesMMA, follow Don on Twitter at CBMMA_Don. He writes some of the best articles on the site, and so damn, for sure go follow him. And then like the fan page on Facebook at facebook.com/CrossBonesMMA. Go to CrossBonesMMA.com for all of your MMA news. Also, a shout out to a friend of CrossBonesMMA, the good guys over at FightBookMMA.com. Check their site out. If you want your music as the intro to the show, hit up John. Don't hit up me because I get emails about a bunch of shit, and so I have to sift through all this stuff. But hit up John. In fact, spam his email if you want to. John at CrossBonesMMA.com. Don't tell him I told you to do that because he's not going to hear about this anyway. I don't. Yeah. All the shows on the CrossBones MMA Radio Network are available on SoundCloud for download, on iTunes for download, and on Stitcher. So subscribe, and so you get all your CrossBones MMA Network Radio Network content automatically. You can download every single one of our shows: 5 Rounds with John and Eddie, Bad Decisions, Keyboard Warriors, and a couple more shows that are going to come up soon, all for free. Download that shit and go work out if you want to. Hit them up on your iPod and enjoy for sure. So one of the things I want to say. Bad Decisions with Eddie Law, with me, of course, goes down on Monday night. We move to the new night. Keyboard Warriors is live on Tuesday night, and 5 Rounds with John and Eddie is going to be back on Wednesday. More than likely, John and Nick will be back. Again, we're gonna keep bringing Don on the show for sure, and as much as we possibly can. And thanks for joining us today. And for all of us, MMA.com, I'm Eddie Law. He's Don Manos. We'll see you guys later.